Where did you and Mr. Reynolds meet?
Well, it may be funny, but we meet online. eHarmony. That's the first time I met him on eHarmony, and he was a member for I think several months, few months already, and me, I have given a 3 days trial period, and that's how we started. So, if how difficult it is to date a person in person, well, how much more online. So it wasn't. I thought like, oh no, this is not that. This is not the thing for me. But I said, okay, one more thing. So Air Harmony is giving you like a list of names and main names daily. So for those 3 days, Jeremy's name was on the last group of names that I said, okay, this is the last, the last thing, and then I'm done. And I was captivated by what he's doing, feeding, homeless people, and that's what makes me interested of knowing him. But I didn't really put too much expectation because what he's looking is he's looking for somebody who have a journalism background. And at that time I said like, well, it's not me that he's looking. So but there's something in me that really get interested to know him on what he's doing and about the ministry. So just nothing romantic, nothing. It is like we go out from the hotel, we just buy our Egyptian things, and then we come back here in America, and by that next year we start processing my fiance visa. And then after that, when I got approved, I went home to Philippines, and he followed me to Philippines the next year, middle of that year, and come back here and come back over there, and said, Lord, I'm not coming back. This is what he said. Lord, I'm not coming back to America without Elma. So the next year again on 2015, I arrived here in March 10 of 2015, and we get married in the 27 of the same month. And that's how by the time I arrive here, we work side by side, we go out side by each other together. So we work together in this ministry, and that's what our commitment, to know, to not only to support him, to take care of him as my husband, but to support him in the ministry. And although at the time it was very difficult for me, so suddenly the change of environment, people around me, it was a very difficult change. But I saw that he's happy when I'm with him. I already told him, you can just put me in the kitchen. I will be working in the kitchen. He said, no, I won't put you in the kitchen. So I think at that time I realized that I have to change me to support him in every way. And then that's how I make a decision to, you know, uh, to be with him wherever he go, meetings, meeting people, and whatever he is doing as a CEO. And I think it's a training ground that the Lord sit me in, because in the coming years I will be running Joy Junction after he passed away. So that's how we met. And I think he is a God-given gift. Not I think, I believe, and I know that God gave him to me, and me to him, in a purpose, with a purpose. And I know that before I set foot here in America, when we were in Tel Aviv in Israel, when I asked God, Lord, is he the one for me? Because I don't want to come to America just for the green card or the passport, American passport. I want that it's a meaningful marriage or relationship. And I could hear God talking in my heart, Elma, you and Jeremy, I will use you in a way that you never imagined. And I was really crying all the way back to my apartment. And when he was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, I said, Lord, you told me that you will use both us in a way that I never imagined. And now it's like, you know, with cancer, it's like you are sentenced to death. But I still trust God's word and God's plan in our life. And now I understand the whole thing, the whole thing that happening in our lives, in our, with Him, and how we meet. And I just in awe of how God, put the puzzles together, the pieces together. And the more I trust Him, and the more no matter what circumstance or obstacle I'm facing, I always remember how God, uh, you know how God will be there for us, for you, for me, and for this ministry. And that's how things started between me and Jeremy. And I love him more now, even if he's not around. I love him so much, and yeah, we miss him, but I know he's done with his mission God has given him. And here we are continuing the mission that God has putting on his shoulder, and continue this place to run and to help to share the love of God.
His business model was to only solicit private donors, avoiding government assistance. Is this model still in place today?
Yes, and we're still practicing that one, and we don't have any plan to change that. And I think for so many reasons. First, it's if you're giving a government money, it will be, you will never know the next year if you get a fund from the government. So that's one of the reason why he doesn't want to go that route. And aside from that, it will be easier for us, without any restriction for the government, because we got funded from the government or city or federal. And it's more easier for us being in this kind of business model that, all are privately funded, and we are setting our own rules and regulation, and much easy than having some, like tie up with the government funding. And that's why until now we continue doing it, and we are so blessed that without any government, federal or city funding, I mean, Joy Junction is still here, and we have a very good community that supported and believe of what we do and trust us. And we will continue as long as we can run this place, and this place is needed by the people that are in very dire situation. We will continue to run this place the way it is from the very beginning.
How far do visitors travel for Joy Junction?
Well, all the guests and residents that come here, every individual or families that come here, couples that coming here to our doors, they come not only from New Mexico or Albuquerque area, although majority here in Albuquerque area, but we have some couples and families that come from outside state. I think not only that, they heard about J Junction, sometimes, not sometimes, probably, yeah, word spread out. I mean, those who were here are, having friends or relatives or families in other state, and hey, there is a place here, like, they keep families together, they keep couples, husband and wife together. So I think that's the kind of thing that, makes those who are outside of state, that they're having a difficult time in other state being homeless, and they decided to come here. Yes, we get a call, we get an email, like inquiring how we could come there. I mean, this is our situation. Are we gonna be accepted? So yeah, we tell them all the information that we want from them. So from there, sometimes, yeah, we have to pick them up at the train station, or sometimes they're at the bus station. Yeah, there are those situations that they come from different state, and sometimes they are originally from here in New Mexico, and they want to come back here, but they don't have anything to come back, but they want to start again their life here. So yeah, we always welcome them, and we help as much as we can. But yeah, it's not only from New Mexico area or Albuquerque area, but we have people that coming from out of state and stay here and build their lives, and when they are um, financially capable already or having a job, and they will able to move out of property. We don't want them to make it a hurry. We always tell them, when you have a job, save, 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 because we don't want that, you move out right away and then later on you're here again. I mean, we love you here, but we love to see you, being on your own and independent, and be able to live your life, seeing what you have done, that you progress in your life, and being a member in the society again, not just like being a homeless and depending on a shelter. So yep, that's what we do here. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, what your background, what your religious background or belief or gender. We welcome everyone here, and of course we do a background check because this is a family shelter. We have women, so if they have they are convicted of being sexual assault and domestic violence, that's something that we can't really take here. It depends how long it was, because people change, you know we don't really like black and white. Okay, you are charged with sexual assault or domestic violence, then we have to look how long it was, and if it's like 5 years, 3 years ago, then we give them consideration, but we tell them, we don't want you to do what you did before. We want to help you now, but yeah, this is what we want from you. And yeah, but if it's just like recently, yeah, because it's a liability for us.
They do now. They didn't initially when I came here. I was pretty shameful, pretty beaten down, ill, and I didn't want anybody, my children, friends, family, to know that I was here, that I was even in this situation. And as time went by, they started looking for me, and I don't know how they found me, but my little sister called our cousin, and he showed up here at Joy Junction, and so I knew that at that point, the jig was up. Like, everybody needed to know or found out, and so then I started reaching out. I felt a little more confident. I felt safer. I feel very safe here, which is something I can't say for a majority of my life. So this is the first place that I've come to where not only is there the presence of the Lord, it's a faith-based shelter, but I just feel safe here. It is a safe haven. It's a sanctuary for a lot of people, for a lot of reasons. And the fact that it's private property, privately owned, not government funded, like it's a clean, safe environment.
How far did you come?
I'm originally from Las Cruces, but I was living here in Albuquerque when I became homeless, and so not far. And the situation that my husband and I were in, we were evicted from our apartment. We had lost work, and we had a place to go, and literally the night before we were supposed to move, it fell through. And we had 12 hours to figure out what we were going to do, where we were going to go with our apartment full of belongings, and we just had no answers. I called a friend of mine who's the pastor, and he came, and I gave him everything in our apartment. He also gives to the needy and stuff like that, clothing, household needs. And I called him and said, if you can give us a ride, you can have whatever's in this apartment. And we packed bags of clothes that we needed. I was due to start a new job within a week after we were evicted. And so I packed my business attire and warm clothes because it was October 12th to be precise. And he drove us to a park, and we thought it would just be temporary because I was starting a job within a week. And so homeless, I would work. I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was freezing cold, and I would get to the bus stop, and I would take the Wyoming bus to to San Mateo, and then to Montgomery, and then the Montgomery bus to San Mateo. And then I would take that bus and drive all the way to the end. I forget the name of the cross street. And I would get off the bus and I would go into the McDonald's and I would get ready for work. And then I had a 30-minute walk to my office. And I did that. It was rough, being homeless, and I felt like I was a great big huge facade. I was rolling up to my office every day. It was a healthcare coordinator position, and it was just really rough. And I managed that for 3 months and did that every day. I'd get back at 7 o'clock at night through rain, snow, you name it. And my husband had to stay behind and watch our belongings because they would get stolen, or we needed our sleeping bags. Those were stolen a couple of times that we had to replace them. And then amidst all that, our alcoholism, we were already alcoholics when we got evicted. And so there in the park and me going to work every day, the drinking just pursued and took over. And after a few months, I just couldn't even make it to work anymore. And the plan of getting a job and having an income and getting a place was just like a pipe dream at some point because we were just living to survive. And we didn't know anything about Joy Junction. Some people would, some kind people would stop and say, well, we can give you a ride to a shelter. And we were just scared to death. We had never been homeless. All we had was each other, and we didn't want to we were scared to go to a shelter. Shelters have bad reputations. And we just were ignorant to what Joy Junction had to offer. We knew nothing about it. And by the grace of God, a very kind person brought me here. I would say we were on our deathbeds. And so this takes us from October all the way to the end of January. And my husband was taken to the hospital. And after he left for the hospital, after the ambulance took him, a man came up to me and said, you've got 10 minutes to clear out of this park, or I'm going to call the police on you. And so I packed up our sleeping bags, our belongings, everything, and went across the street to a huge empty dirt lot. It was snowing, and I was just scared to death. I didn't want to leave that spot. I figured if my husband got out of the hospital, that's the first place he was going to go to find me. I didn't want to leave, but again, by the grace of God, a gentleman stopped, and I was just under a blanket, a huge blanket of sleeping bags because it was so cold. And he drove up and he said, hey, he didn't expect a girl to pop out, I'm sure. And he said, my family and I were barely comers, so I brought you some. I said, thank you. He left, he had his son with him, and he was just like, just being kind. And I got back under the blanket, and then about 2 hours later, he drove up again. And he said, I can't stand that you're out here. It's going to drop below 23 degrees tonight. He said, let me take you to a shelter. And at first I said no. And then he said, let's just call just for the night. You can come back tomorrow. He said it because I explained to him why I was afraid to leave. And so he called Joy Junction. They had a bed for a single female.
I actually know quite a few of the residents. Occasionally, people I've known when I wasn't homeless wind up here, but from the residents here, from my duties as working on our food truck, our Lifeline of Hope food ministry truck, I actually know many, probably thousands of homeless people. And so I know quite a few of the residents here. I've been serving them for years. I'm always glad when they can show up here. Everyone knows I'm here. I don't hide it at all. I'm not ashamed of it at all. I'm actually very proud of being at Joy Junction. It's a safe and nurturing environment, and it's really a great place to work also.
Were you homeless before working here at Joy Junction?
Yes, I was homeless before I worked at Joy Junction. I've worked at Joy Junction twice, and I was homeless before both times. Yeah, first time I came here, I had just been released from Cibola County Correctional Center in Milan, New Mexico, where I was in federal custody. I got involved in San Diego I was already a drug dealer, drug addict, and so of course some coyotes came and recruited me. I got busted in Yuma, Arizona. They brought me to New Mexico to do my time. Funniest thing, in Yuma County Jail is where I first heard of Joy Junction. And, 3 months later, I wind up on the streets of Albuquerque through a clerical error of the immigration. I shouldn't have even been in Albuquerque, but about 1:30 in the morning, a taxi driver told me, you should call Joy Junction. And he gave me the number, and I called Joy Junction. And Dr. Reynolds, who was just Jeremy Reynolds back then, actually answered the phone and sent the van for me. Back then, I was recovering from substance abuse and just a hopeless kind of mindset in life. Nothing really mattered. Whatever I did is whatever I did. After being here for 3 years, I met my wife here. Our first son was born here. I moved on and moved out. And the second time I came, I had surgery. I was working 2 jobs, and one of the jobs didn't have short-term disability insurance, so I couldn't afford my unit anymore. So we moved down here to once again have a safe and stable place to live while I had my surgery and recovered. Then we moved up and out again. The third time I came was due to the loss. It was during the Great Recession, and I lost my full-time job, and I couldn't afford rent with just 40% of the income I'd been making. So we came back here to get reestablished again. And this last time I came was because my body was really worn out from working so much and so hard. I had to have a couple of surgeries. So we came down here prior to my surgery. So once again, had that safe and stable place. And afterwards, I joined the program. It was the second time I've been in the program, but really the first time I did the program. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It really taught me how to live life successfully. I've always been highly functional. When I worked, I was always well regarded, but I could never really stay focused and on track. This time, I know where the errors and pitfalls are, and life is great. My marriage is better than it's ever been before. My kids are healthy and happy and well adjusted and well respected by their peers and their mentors and teachers, and it's really been just a blessing.
So this is just for men, like really men's bathroom for them, and shared with other residents here, because you will be either a single male or a married couple. So this is for the men bathroom, and the opposite is for the women. So it has 3 showers and 3 stalls, and including for handicap also. That we put donation during the day that coming in, and you know um, it's almost empty because it's almost the end of the year, where we are most of our canned good donations are already running out. So
What's the average financial burden, and does the shelter ever miss its goals?
The annual budget is $5.4 million. And yes, we have missed our goals. We have strong years and we have weak years. Our stronger years carry us over for the weaker years, but it has allowed us to stay open for the last 36 years. We have a strong donor base, so those donors really, really, support us and have supported us for many years, and are there for us with their donations, and allowing us to meet our goals annually. It's very hard to put a cost per person due to all the variables that make up housing someone, but we can put a cost per meal. Our average cost per meal is $2.05 per meal per person. That cost will probably be going up in the next probably couple months as cost of everything is going up, and so obviously we're going to be seeing an increase in the supplies that we purchase as well.
How about struggles with addiction?
Oh yeah, yep. I have been struggling with addiction ever since I was about 14 years old. I grew up in a family where my dad was one of the old school hippies of the time, so to say. Grew up in the 70s, liked to smoke, liked to drink, liked to gamble. My mom, she was clean cut, but just taking an influence from my father. It kind of ran with me, he was my role model growing up, and it was one of those situations where it was kind of like, well, if daddy does it, what, there must be something good behind it. And the curiosity always kind of struck me, and after I ended up trying it, of course I liked it. And then, just moving along forward in life, it just kind of stuck with me, and it was one of those things that was just really a personal downfall that I never even really knew that I had in my life.
As for me, my dad, my parents are Native American. My parents came off the reservation, and they wanted to build a better life. So they planted us in Utah. My dad and my mom, they knew about God, but they grew up in tradition. As for my father, he came to know the Lord later on than my mother, because my mom and my dad, they used to party, they used to drink. And my dad was an alcoholic, and he made a lot of bad choices, I'm sure, There was some abuse in my family toward my mom. I hear them arguing and stuff, but I never really seen the abuse. I just heard her screaming and fighting. So I could only, imagine, what was going on. And during that time, my mom would take us to church at a very young age. And when we went to church, we would always pray for my dad. And I feel like they knew what was going on because it was me and my two brothers. We were like maybe in first grade, kindergarten, preschool. That's the very first time I felt the Holy Spirit in my life. I felt peace. So later on, my dad ended up coming to the Lord, and he became a preacher. And they both got really involved in they had a church out on the reservation, and they started preaching. And this is when I grew up. During this time, I struggled with addiction. What happened was it was all kind of.
What inspired the need for change?
Well, really, it all boiled down to a lot of, soul searching. Coming to the realization that I had to be truthful and honest with my own addictions. Because throughout a lot of my life, I knew about God, I knew about Jesus, and I knew about the Holy Spirit, and I, confessed with my mouth and believed in my heart that He is my Lord and Savior, and He sent His Son to save me. But what I didn't realize that what I was doing on the back end was actually holding me back from building a better relationship with Christ. There was always that struggle with addiction. There was always that, oh, just one more time with smoking weed. Oh, just a couple of drinks, that'll be okay. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, the other. I was always making the justification that, oh, well, I believe in God. I love God, like He loves me. We're tight. We're buddies. And then here I'm off going and doing my own thing, thinking, oh, God will forgive me. We're cool, like best buddies and everything like that. And it seemed like there was an ongoing pattern going on for the longest of times where I would do that, just one little time, and the next thing I know, down in the trenches, losing jobs, having family problems, dealing with weird occurrences that I should have never really even had to deal with. And finally, after just talking with God and accepting in my heart and going 100 for Him, He pointed out those things that I was personally doing in my life that was pretty much just self-sabotage. And He's like, I need you to fully trust in me. It's like, yes, I will forgive you, but you need to take some accountability, and we need to uproot these addictions from out of your life. You need to get in right with me, like I want to build a relationship with you, and you're either 100% for me or you're for the world. And basically, He just broke it down for me, and that's when I truly was like, yep, you're absolutely right. It's like, here I am trying to follow you. I love you. I want to be closer to you and build a better relationship with you. But, if I'm not wholehearted with it, and I'm only lying to myself in the long run.
As for me, I think what really, really changed my perspective is that I was sick of waking up, being sick of having to have a crutch in my life, sick of having to make me feel better. I had to go smoke that joint. To make me feel better and for my nerves to calm down is to drink that drink. When I started smoking marijuana, it led me to plenty of bad decisions. It is truly the gateway of the drugs. I'm telling you that. And I've justified it for too long. I don't need a crutch. I have the Lord now. I've been through too much pain. I've seen death in the eyes. In my eyes, I could have been dead from an overdose 3 times. I could have been captured. I could have been this. I could have been that. But the thing is, when when my father and my mother spoke life into me, even when I was at the lowest of low, knowing well I was deep in my addiction, they kept running to the Lord because He is sovereign and merciful. And even when I was in my addiction, I would have times where I would go 2 years without using or this and that. But my world crumbled when my parents died. I had no one, and in that pain grew and grew. But I knew I had a problem. It's because I didn't know how to feel my emotions, and that's that's a problem. When you can't feel your emotions and have to turn to a substance, you have a real problem there. And I can't serve two masters. I had to.
Where were you homeless before working at Joy Junction?
In Albuquerque, I've been here since 1991, actually 1986 when I met my wife in high school. In 1990, I came back, me and my wife got together. Actually, we started doing drugs, I believe in 1990, 91, 93. We started with the drugs and got into meth and coke and all that. We ended up losing everything in 2001, 2002. We were living in the streets behind Walmart on Carlisle Mall. My wife found this place. We came over here. I had to start working like daily work, daily pay. We went back to the streets, started living in the car, went back to Walmart behind Carlisle Mall, and just started continuing doing drugs until we got saved in 2004. I'm the manager here that I work here, and what kind of place this is. It's a family shelter. And I also tell them that I would recommend it if I didn't know this place, but I do know this place, and this place is awesome. I mean, it helped me and my family when we were homeless. I see all the people that it helps here, and I'm not just saying that because I work here. I see the results, how we're able to change people's lives from when they first come in to where they're at now. Not all of them get saved, not all of them get back to life, but the majority of them that do come here that really want their life back end up getting their life back and calling me like 2 years later, say, hey, I'm going to college now, I got my degree in this. I got a girl that called me all the way from Hobbs, telling me, hey Marcus, thank you for everything that you guys are doing. I'm getting my certification in teaching and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and it's awesome just to hear the stories out there that they're still continuing with their sobriety. It works.
Did Mr. Reynolds have early ambitions for a shelter?
Well, not at all. When he come to America, that's not his ambition. He believed that God called him to come here to preach the gospel and to be an evangelist. And growing up in England in a middle class family, he was never trained to do anything because everything is handed to him. And when he come here, his a dream of being here didn't materialize. And then at the time he just got married, he's in his early 20s, and then um, he just got a family, and that's how he become homeless because they were evicted, and they were kicked out, yeah, evicted, and his wife and two kids were someone offered to be house to live with a friend, but he is not included on that because he said he was so arrogant person. So he decided to travel, going to Texas, and not really knowing where he's going. And he has a bus ticket and a $20 in his pocket. He arrived in the border of Texas and, you know, start going to hitchhiking. It is a long story how he arrived here in New Mexico, but that was the first time when he experienced very rough life, being on the road and no money. He wants to stay in a hotel, but he's like $2 short, and he can't. So he's hitchhiking and no food, and a driver of the truck offered him a sandwich, and with much prayer and ask God's direction until he arrived in Santa Fe. So shelter is not one of his ambition, it's something else, but that's the first time. And then started a ministry in Santa Fe with the help of the church, friends over there. And afterwards, after 4 years of doing that ministry, helping homeless, he became homeless again because he decided to give up in that ministry and wants to come to Albuquerque to find a job. he doesn't want to be in the ministry of homeless people anymore. But the last thing he knows is he started Joy Junction. So twice he become homeless. His family become homeless, and that's where he started here in 1986, in the summer of 1986, and now we are 36 years of being in this place.
Was Mr. Reynolds educated?
Yes, he got the highest education. While here working at Joy Junction, running this place at this time, also there was a time a year that he decided to continue his studies, so he got a degree in communication. I can't really like explain what, but yeah, it's like master in journalism. So that's what he did, and then after that, he is a very like he loves to read. He loves to it's like never ending. When he finishes one thing, he wants to okay, what's next? So after that, he decided to take his uh, masteral, and then after that, he continued to take, and he was accepted his PhD studies in Biola University in California. So for many years, every weekend, Friday I think or Thursday, he has to travel to California and come back here. So it was, I think for him it was very difficult, but he is very determined to finish that his PhD. So yeah, he got the highest degree. Education, intercultural relation. That was his PhD, and I think also he said that it really helps him to become a better person after he finished his and become more happier and understanding, people, and that's what motivated him to continue this ministry. At present, I think we have enough per square footage that we have here on the property. We can accommodate as much as 350 people a night, and right now we are around the numbers we have here is more than 200. Maybe in the future. I know there is been some groups saying we will end homelessness, by year 2025 or 2030. But uh, for me, I don't think so. There will be an end of homelessness problem while drugs and alcohol are openly available. It's just like a cycle, keep going on and keep going on. So we will just, hopefully in the future we will need more bed space and able to accommodate the need when it comes to homelessness problem. But as of now, we have enough. Like now, we can accommodate families with their own room, with a privacy of a room and their own bathroom. Some couples, if rooms are available, single males are put in one place and single females in one place. So there is enough for the need now, and hopefully, for me personally, I don't want that we need there will be a time that we need more space. Beds. It means that the problem is getting worse. But in that case, if we need, then hopefully, yeah, by the time, yeah, in the future, probably we need. And now we have this multi here. We call it multi-purpose because everything is like being done here 3 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner done here, classes done here. But this is one of our like overflow room. If we don't have space rooms for families, then we can put here in the multi. It accommodate like around 100 people. This is where it is when we don't have yet the dream house building. 120 or sometimes 130 people a night in this area here in this building. But now we are so blessed that we are blessed with this building. We call it Dream House, where we have around 45 rooms, individual rooms with their own bathroom, and we just renovated the barracks, and we just renovated the family dorm where Joy Junction started in the beginning in 1986. So, yep, probably we need more bed space somewhere else, like another organization that will put up, a place helping the homeless, because not here we can accept everyone. I my prayer is that there will be a organization that uh, helping those, like for example they have PTSD, they have really severe or criminal background, and those who have backgrounds that we can't accept here, that they can easily go into such kind of a place where they can stay, especially now winter is coming, the weather is changing now, and there's so much on the street that, yeah, that's my prayer in my heart, that there will be, God will lead somebody to start a ministry like that, that could help those people that we cannot take in here. And hopefully that will happen, and God see the need. And I know that sometimes we have few workers where could do the things that really badly needed here in New Mexico, but who knows, there will be more. I think that the city have this program now at the for the Gateway Center, but it's not, still not enough. And there are other many more organization also. So speaking about bed space, needed bed space here, at present nothing really. We can't see it now. We have enough, and hopefully if it needed in the future, we will able to provide that with God's provision and the kindness and heart giving community that supported Joy Junction.